All right, so I'd like to welcome everyone here for the public portion of the weekly update for the 61 Main Street project. So this is our fifth update meeting. Got a few changes here that I'll lead off with, and then before we give our schedule update, we've identified that seems more so this stage than last summer stage that we were given this public update here first, and then meeting and having our project specific meeting, and we're finding that we're revising a lot of things immediately after this meeting, and we've certainly felt that I think all the weeks leading up to, but I think last week was probably the most substantial, and it's just part of that process. Construction is always changing, and what I'm specifically referring to is the newspaper headline there with the intersection change at Bush and Plum. After our public update meeting, we sat down and really looked at the sequencing and identified that Plum Street is a real critical intersection to this project, with the multiple highway systems feeding into it, and being with no truck detour yet, or at least certainly last week. We realized that closing Plum was going to create some logistic issues, and so we were able to make some changes and we're able to close Potter and work everything towards Plum from both directions. And so that was the big change last week, and acknowledging that there's going to be those kinds of changes and likely more to come, we're going to meet earlier than this meeting and identify specifically schedule and maybe some of those changes so that when we have this public update at noon, we're hopefully more informed and able to deliver a little more consistent message to maybe prevent some inaccuracies in the newspaper and the emails and things. So we're making an adjustment. Hopefully it'll work better going forward, but that's going to start next week. So I appreciate your patience and understanding with that and your constant cooperation here. Additionally, we're working on the water main between Bush and Plum, and it makes a lot of sense when you do a project like this that you account for the long term and you plan for that accordingly. And it's a commercial setting downtown, certainly that block between Bush and Plum. I'm talking in the south side, and so we've been working. I know Jay's been putting a lot of time, the city has, and working with those property owners and making sure that we're putting in the right size water services for the future. And in a lot of cases that makes sense to go a 6-inch water service. And there's a few structures here that don't have that now. And so what that's doing is requiring some coordination between our project, Meyer, and the building owner and their private plumber to get this new 6-inch service across the road and into those existing building structures. And so in order to get this coordination and to keep things moving efficiently, we've worked with those businesses, and we're looking at needing to close that sidewalk for the rest of this week likely to get all that coordination effort in. And so the plan, we're using those business siding, is to have people access through the alley and the back doors, and this is just for this week here. We're expecting that work, and it's a partnership between the project and the business owners, so everyone's been very supportive of this, and I think a lot of publications have been accenting that alley access already, so I think it's working so far, and expect it to continue to work well at least through the end of the week. But that is a slight change as well, just having to close that sidewalk, and just doesn't make sense for us to put the 6-inch in, backfill, and then reopen it up so the plumber can do their work. We're just going to do all that one time and use just one trench. So those are kind of two big changes. I don't know if I missed anything major. I think we'll turn it over to Ryan with Meyer here for a schedule, and then circle back unless you had something.
Well, I just wanted to add to that, and that decision that was made after the last meeting last week when we conveyed that Plum Street would be closed, and then we re-looked at things and were able to keep Plum Street open and keep Bush closed. We feel it was a real good decision, and the contractor came up with some good ideas on how to do that, from building from two directions, and supported that. And that's something, our newsletter reflected that, but our newsletter came out, of course, after the paper was published on Wednesday, and so it wasn't the paper's fault. It was what we said, and it was conveyed properly in the paper. We just made a change right away, and that was already in print. So, and that's the dynamic aspect of construction. Things like that do come up. Other ideas are floated out. We've changed traffic control here partway through and made improvements to that. So, just bear with us as we go through this. We think we got a better a better process moving forward, maybe talking some of those things through prior to the public portion on Tuesday here. So work with us on that, and we'll keep you informed as best we can.
Awesome, thank you, Jay.
All right, Ryan.
All right, the project schedule right now is very simple. We're working utilities right now, like Corey said, we're working water between Bush and Plum, and we're working our way up to Plum, and then of course when we get to Plum, we plan on doing the sanitary from Potter back down to Plum, and then water back from Potter to Plum, and then sanitary from Plum to Bush. So really, that's our 3-week look at, is just water and sewer from Potter to Bush.
There's some, Ryan, there's some street work or building that you're doing on that first block then as well?
First block, yeah, we're prepping it for concrete paving, but that's largely ready to go for concrete, but they're not going to come pave anything until we've got all 3 blocks ready to go.
Okay, so you'll just kind of keep working the prep work, getting the road built back in over the pipes that you do have done.
Right.
And so concrete would be when you've got kind of all those 3 stretches ready to go.
Correct.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ryan. So that'll set precedent. I think as far as what to expect for intersection changes, we're expecting to hold here how we stand with Plum being open. It's going to certainly help it. We have some indication that spring load restrictions are going to be lifted here at the end of this week, which allow us to start discussions on the truck detour. Probably expect that to be implemented maybe next week at some point, likely next week at some point. And so that'll hopefully help eliminate some of the larger trucks coming through the area, or at least through the project. And then, as Ryan indicated, we're expecting to keep Plum open here, and be looking at a closure maybe 2 weeks from now to complete that work in Plum, at which time then Bush would be back open. And so hopefully then with having a ability to get those larger trucks and not have to accommodate them at Bush Street, I think that'll be better suited for everybody. So it's kind of what we're looking at. No big changes here this week or even likely next week, but we'll just keep looking at that every week as we go forward. I think that's all I had, Jay, as far as big updates.
Yeah, and that sidewalk thing that we talked about with the utilities, we're working directly with the property owners, and we'll get those back in place once their plumber has made connections, and we'll, we don't want to keep that out longer than we have to. It's just a matter of coordinating our crews with the private plumber to get those connections made, and then backfilling and opening back up. Similar to what we did right on the corner there at the old Moments on Main building. We got that backfilled and it's gravelled, and that front door is open because we've got that portion of it done. So as we get things done, we get them backfilled and back walkable again. So.
And then maybe the only other general comment is the traffic control. Maybe as you drive through, you've noticed that there are some tubes missing. There's some tape and some rolls of tape. It looks like this week finally we're able to get some favorable weather where that can be addressed and reinstalled and brought up to at least hopefully more clear and just a little better provisions there from a traffic control standpoint. So we'll be addressing that, but we need a dry, warm weather, and it looks like we're going to finally get that at least consistently here at the latter part of this week. So just a general update there as well. We'll be making those changes and getting things kind of resolved and more looking how they probably should be. So, do you have anything, Ron, at all, or?
That was one thing I was going to ask about.
Yep.
The other one is, did you mention the tank? Is that being taken care of soon, or do you have that lined up?
Yeah, we've got that lined up. We got a subcontractor who's going to come take care of that. I don't think we have a date picked with them yet.
Okay.
Actually, no, I think we do. I think it's Thursday this week, wasn't it? Yeah, Thursday this week is going to go away.
Because I just noticed you're putting subgrade sand in, and it's going to get in the way here pretty soon.
Ryan's going to bury that again
That's what I'm afraid of.
for the next contractor to find, right?
Surprises. Birthday cakes and underground takes.
Yeah, thank you.
Jerry, did you have anything that with the water system or the utilities that? Okay. Jared?
All right, very good.
I thought you guys would have something today, so. a lot of water main and sewer work going on right now, so.
There is. So with that, any questions or concerns at all for those attending today that we can address?
Corey, maybe you want to talk about some of the cleanup items for from the last year's phase and kind of where we're moving with that and the sod and get that, the fixes down there.
Sure, yeah, I can do that. So stage one, even though it was substantially complete last year, there's still an understanding that there's going to be needing some cleanup things. Most specifically is the sod. We're aware with the winter streetlight installation there was some disturbance to that, just as well as just some general winter kill with snow plowing and wheel tracking and things like that. We haven't forgot about stage one, and we're aware of those. I think sodding will make sense here to address here within this next month. We have a letter that we'll distribute. We are out of warranty for stage one. And so that a letter identifies that. I don't know if Josh has delivered that yet. I think we've been a little bit busy on that, but we'll get that out here this next week. And allows a number to call if you have some concerns on your sod, and that can apply to anything that was completed last summer if there's concerns with that. But so we're aware of those things, and we'll continue to kind of address those as it makes sense. I think the plan in place is as the work scopes happen here in stage two that are relative to repair work in stage one, I like the concrete. Once Doyle shows up, the subcontractor responsible for concrete. If there's issues with the concrete in stage one, it'd make a lot of sense to do those while they're here placing concrete in stage two. Similarly with the striping and things like that. So that's kind of our expectation, unless it's something dire and urgent and needs to be addressed immediately. We just kind of carry through and address both things at the same time as they continue to evolve this summer, and then hopefully at the end we've got everything addressed and looking like it should. So, but sod will be one of those more immediate things, and we're tracking that, and we'll work through getting that looking like it should. So,
yeah, and we have a couple of the business owners on that stretch have contacted me. Corey and I are going to be meeting with them. If there's something, I would encourage, get a hold of us. If there's something we need to look at from last year's project that we need to address, we'll meet out there and try to address what we can and get things fixed up. So, and the warranty that Corey was referring to was the warranty on the sod itself. And that letter that'll go out will kind of put it on to the property owners now that some of that stuff looks like it needs to be mowed here pretty quick. It's getting pretty thick, so which is a good thing. We're happy to see a lot of it took very well. So just wanted to let you know we haven't forgotten about that portion of the project.
no, it's a good point, Jay. Well, with that, I guess we'll
No questions from the audience?
thank everyone for coming and see you next week.